I'm not sure how I've got your screen on my screen, Caitlin.
No, I'm the same. I can't get anyone.
I'm really a bit
I've
curious.
got
Right, I think that's it. It's done.
Got you.
I can't switch my screen on.
I don't know how that happened.
Maybe I'll come out and come in again.
No, who can't see?
Oh,
Me.
I've got you now.
I can just see you. Oh, now I can see Lynn.
Yeah, I've got you.
Oh, well, it's getting better
I
then.
I can see Annette. I can't see anybody else. I can only see one other person at a time. No idea why.
No, I know. I usually get them all on screen at once.
Yep. Oh well. Perhaps they've changed the setup for Zoom. I don't know.
I've
If
only
you
got me and you on the screen. I haven't got Annette now.
That's right. Just you and I, Lynn. Hi.
Oh no, I've got you now. I've got you now, Annette.
I've got 5 of you now.
Oh, aren't you
What, on
lucky?
the screen?
Yeah, I've got 5 of you.
Oh, okay.
Very strange. On to gallery view.
Oh, gallery
No,
view.
I'm just
Oh,
joining, so I
got
can't
you.
see her.
Yes, okay. Okay.
Right, are we ready to start? Is there anybody here, Jenny, that not here that you were expecting?
I've had apologies from Alice.
Yeah.
I don't think I've had apologies from anybody else. So
Jenny, Mick is in hospital.
oh, is he?
Yes.
Oh, bless his heart. What's
Not sure. His blood levels are not right.
what?
So
That's
he was-
diabetes, is it?
Probably, yes. So he's been taken into hospital.
Oh, bless him.
Yeah. So hopefully he'll be okay.
Tessa and Alison are trying to connect by the look of it, but they're not with us, are they yet?
No.
They may be with us. It's just
Yeah,
that
I
they
think it's
haven't got a.
yeah, it's the sound. I've got Olivia now as
Oh,
well.
and Olivia.
I'll give it a minute more and then I think we ought to start, otherwise we'll just be
Oh, there's Alison.
There's
Good.
Alison. We're gathering.
Hello, I'm here as well, but I don't think you can see me. I don't know why not.
No, there was a complication with me as well. I couldn't get anybody online.
Right. Phil, nobody can see me. I don't know. I'm
No,
there.
Your
Olivia's
Oh,
here.
got Olivia.
Your camera is showing as being switched off, Tessa.
Oh, I don't even know how to turn it off because I never turn.
Got video down there.
Got it.
Yeah.
You should stop video, yes.
There we are.
Hi, Phil.
Oh, Tessa,
Ah,
good.
Tess is here.
Pauline's
Pauline, your
gone.
microphone's off.
Oh, there she is.
Yeah, she might have turned it off, ready to listen to the prayer. Should we start with a prayer? Heavenly Father, we come to you today to ask for wisdom and support as we begin this meeting. May everything that we do begin with your inspiration and then continue with your help. We ask for guidance as we work through this agenda, that all of our thoughts and actions would reflect your holy will. Remember that all our concerns are aimed at the spiritual transformation of our parish community. We do ask you to grant us the grace to love you and our neighbours more perfectly, and to remind us that we are all here to do your work for the truth and greater glory of you. We pray tonight particularly for Mick. Pray for a swift recovery, for tender hands watching over him. And we also pray for the worrying escalation in the Ukraine at the moment, as Poland is also becoming involved, as Russia escalates its aggression. We just pray for peace in that place. We ask all these things in your name. Amen. Right, can I suggest everybody mute unless they're talking?
Annette, you've
I just muted myself as I was kind of instructing you. I was playing with my mute button.
I think if you're the host, Annette, you can mute everybody, I think.
Right, but then they have to unmute themselves, and I'm just worried if they don't know where their mute button is, it never comes back again.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, we'll have to make sure that everybody knows. We've done the apologies. So there's number 3's committees, and I wasn't quite sure what was meant by that, Jenny. No, you're muted, Jenny. You're muted.
In the real Kintbury PCC world, we have all these committees, and I tend to lump all the committees and all the sort of.
We've got that
PCC.
later though, haven't we? We've got each report's been sent out already anyway. So we can just go straight down to the minutes, can we?
Yep.
Yeah, minutes from previous PCC and SPCC meetings. So if we look at the PCC meeting first of all, is there anything on the PCC minutes that you think needs to be changed, or are you happy for me to just sign those off? No, everybody seems to be okay with them, Jenny. We'll just adopt those. And the special meeting that we had. Anybody want to make any changes to those? Oh, we're doing well. Matters arising, I think most of it's going to be covered anyway in what we're going through, because we're going through the same items. So we can go straight down to number 5, which is committee and administrative matters. So if we just look at the titles of them. So the first one's worship, and I've got down Victoria, Alistair, Tessa, Alison and Olivia in that committee group. Is that right? And as far as I'm aware, you haven't met recently, but Jill's kind of given us a quick report. Is there any questions for that, or is everybody kind of happy where we are with that? Olivia?
Yeah, Jill did send out a list, and I am aware that I'm on it, but I don't remember being consulted about it. I'm happy to go. We've got a meeting planned. Alison has arranged the meeting, but I'm a complete novice, and I only agreed to be on the PC on condition there was one meeting a month, and we've now got 3 in a week. So I am struggling a bit, but I will be there tomorrow, Alison, and I really want to pop my head around the meeting on Monday. But it's a bit more than my blood pressure is going up and the GP is asking questions. I'm seriously struggling. So I will do my best.
Yeah, I am aware there's a lot of PCC meetings this month, and I think it's because we've got behind on stuff and things have arisen suddenly and we've been asked to hold meetings. by the diocese. So yeah, I'm hoping that we can just do it very quickly, but I am aware of that, and thank you for bringing it up, Olivia. Should we go down to number B then, which is fabric and churchyard, which is Tom, Mick, Bridin, and that's it, isn't it? Are you happy to be on that one? Are there any changes to that committee that need to be announced? You're still happy with that? That's great. And we've got the report from Nat. Does anybody want to ask any questions on that? No. Then we go down to finance and fundraising, which is Pauline, Lynn, Alice and Alison. And if we, do you want to?
Sorry, can I just say something about fabric and churchyard a minute?
Yes.
Jill has proposed a formal vote for Alan Fairburn to come on to fabric, and I'd certainly agree with that. He should be on the fabric committee. Co-opted. I know he's not a PCC member, but can I just say that yes.
Okay, so we just add Alan to the.
I agree that he should be.
And this one's the finance and fundraising.
No, that was fabric and churchyard.
Fabric
Sorry, I
and-
tried to
right,
say
okay.
and I was muted and I couldn't.
Just, yeah, I put him in, and he's quite happy with that.
Well, he's the one. He does a lot of work actually.
Yeah, that's really good. That's
Respect
nice. that he's
his
been
opinion
willing
on
to
the
do that.
fabric.
Yeah. So finance and fundraising, can I leave that with you to go through, Pauline? Just raising any issues that you think we need to know.
Do you want to take my treasurer's report now then?
Yeah, we might as well, because you're down for the budget there.
Okay.
I mean, we've all had that, haven't we? So we can just, if you just want to skip through the main points, that would be good.
I've sent it round. I hope everybody's had a chance to have a look at it, because there were some things I needed some agreement on.
Yeah.
We're actually not doing too badly in the bank, but that's partly because we've got the £5,000 legacy in there that came in earlier in the year. That makes our bank account look healthier than it would do otherwise. Predicted end of year situation. When we were due to meet last time and then didn't, I was saying we might have a £4,000 deficit, and now I'm thinking it might be more like £2,000. That's because we've had a match funded donation in, which has made a lot of difference. So that's rather good. But I think we will have a small deficit overall on our unrestricted funds. Parish share, I do need to ask the PCC. I personally think that we should pay our full parish share allocation.
Can I just ask Pauline, sorry, does the £2,000 we're in deficit include the payment of the parish share?
I have assumed that we will be paying the parish share in full.
Okay, yeah.
And that we will then have a £2,000 deficit.
Okay, yeah, that's clear. Yeah, I'm happy with that then.
Do you understand? Do you see that? Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not with £2,000 in deficit, and then we're going to be
and then parish share on top. No.
Okay. Yeah. That's clear.
No. I mean, personally, I think we ought to pay it. I mean, we didn't pay it all last year. I know some of the other parishes are struggling, and I feel we ought to pay it. I don't know what other people feel about that, because I've got to respect the wish of the PCC on that. We owe £7,324, and I would like to pay it this month, really, or by the end of the month.
Do you want to set that? Does anybody want to make a comment before we put that to a vote?
I agree with Pauline, but also I think I read somewhere that it was beneficial to us to pay the full amount. I can't think what it concerned, but it seemed to be quite helpful with the future planning of Hampstead Marsh and things like that. I don't know, it was definitely in one of the notes that it was beneficial.
I certainly think it will be in our favour if we paid the whole
Yeah.
parish share in general.
Yep.
And,
So all in favour then of paying for Pauline paying the parish share?
Could I ask people to put up their yellow hands rather than just wave? Because
Do we all
then
know where the yellow hands are?
I can't. Sorry,
Gotta
Jenny.
find it now. I can put one up. I don't know whether I remember to take it down.
Except we can't put two up though.
Annette, can you see? Annette, are you able to see everybody?
Not everybody's put it up, but yeah, they've all put their hands up or they've said yes. So
that's unanimous.
yes. Can I just check there isn't anybody that's against it that wants to put up a no? No, everybody's in favour.
thank you.
Thank you.
Deanery Synod, I mentioned, I know the Deanery Synod minutes have gone round, and it looks as though the proposals for next year have been agreed, which will put up, which should put our parish share down slightly. They've been calculated differently, and we come out as slight winners on it.
Which is great, seeing as everything else is going up. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I don't think it'll make a lot of difference, but
Even to stay the same would be good.
yes, yeah. Organ electrics, yes, that works now complete. But I've got the check sitting there ready to pay, but Charlie Debney is waiting for the certificate, and he's particularly keen that we don't pay until we've actually got the certificate for the work. So as soon as he gives me the go ahead, I'm gonna, I've got that to pay. I think the work looks fine, but he's keen that we should have a certificate. Now vestry roof, yes. As you know, we have signed a letter of intent now. Various things here. I am trying to see if I can get some money from the Berkshire Churches Trust. I mean, the friends are being very supportive, but there will be costs that they won't cover or won't be able to cover. I am trying to get some money from the Berkshire Churches Trust. Oh, something I completely forgot about when we were doing the budgeting was to factor in something for the supervision by our architect. I completely forgot about it. Nobody else thought to ask. And he has quoted, and actually his rates are very good. He could ask for a lot more. On top of what we've already paid him for plans, he's asked for £900 to cover the work that he's done since producing the plans, and that included coming over for a meeting last week, and then a further 1,200 for supervision. And he has actually invoiced, it only came in yesterday, he's invoiced for the £900, which I'll have to find. I'd rather not pay it out of the unrestricted funds. I'm trying to see if I can either get it covered by the insurance or use the money from the Berkshire Churches Trust to put towards that, if I possibly can.
I just ask a quick question on that one. I thought when going forward, when we're using JGR restorations, I thought we were paying for them to project manage. So has it always been the case then that we're paying for them to project manage, plus we need an architect to also? It
is true, yes. Yes.
So that okay, because that I don't think that was clear originally.
No, sorry, no, apologies. I think I said that we would, that Christian would be involved, but what I'd forgotten was that we would, have to factor in his, the money we owed him.
And is he going to? I know this is probably a different topic. Is he going to closely supervise the work then for that fee?
Yes, he will. He'll make regular visits. He has said that he is he takes on the health and safety responsibility, which is a very good thing. I mean, I'm quite reassured that he's involved in it myself, but I am sorry that, yeah, I didn't think to go into that before. But I mean, we voted on it. I'll just have to try my best to try and get some additional money in to cover those fees, I think. I don't, you know, I'm not prepared to change our minds on that now.
Olivia?
I think we have to accept that the fees are incredibly reasonable for professional fees for the amount of time that he has put in on this. He's very, very kind to us, I think.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
Olivia, did you want to say something?
My question is actually concerned about the present. Have we covered the vestry? Because who's looking after it? Because it poured with rain today, and every time it rains, I do wonder if it's all right.
A lot of us pop in and check it.
There was water coming down in the outer part again.
Yeah, the bookcase bit.
Yep, but the vestry itself seemed to be fine. Annette and I were in there most of the morning and lunchtime and early afternoon.
And I was in there when I locked them up. I had a look in there. So
yeah, I mean, I'm hoping this will all be cleared up once they get stuck in. It will rectify itself pretty quickly. I think. Yeah. Any other questions? Is there any other voting that we need to do, Pauline?
Oh, sorry, I've got loads actually. Miss Lawrence Trust grant, I was suggesting that we kind of reserve that that money for paying Paul Cully. We had some work done by Paul Cully recently on the porch and the guttering and things like that, and £160 to James Keane for repairing the external vestry door. And it seemed a good use of that money because we did get a £1,500 grant in April that we can't use for the parish share. You know,
the thing is that if we can say that it's gone to something like that, we can report back to them that this is what we used it for.
Yeah, it seems suitable, kind of. Yes.
Can we just put that to the vote to see if everybody's happy with that? Does anybody want to ask any questions about it first? Can we just put that to the vote, that Pauline's suggestion that that money gets used for that? Is everybody happy? Can you just raise your hand if you're in agreement with Pauline's suggestion? Yeah, that looks. Is there anybody that's against it? No, we're for it then. That can go through. Anything else, Pauline?
Edna Martin-Johns' legacy, really, we should discuss legacies and decide what we want to do with them. And are you all in agreement with me keeping that separate and not putting it in with the restricted, with the unrestricted money?
Yeah.
Or would you, I mean, there would be a chance to pay off the small deficit using the legacy, but I think it's quite a good thing to do something special with the legacy money if we possibly can.
Yeah, it's nice for the family to know it's been spent on something that's lasting.
Yeah, so, you know, I'd like to think that people agree with that.
Are you asking for a vote on that, Pauline?
If we need I don't know if we need a formal vote, really. I just like people to be aware that we, you know, that's what I'm proposing.
That you're holding that really for a project or something that it can go to. Yes,
yeah. I think, you know, I think short term, you know, not put it away for a long time.
But it's not like we're on our knees and without it the church will collapse or anything. So I think to actually say you can allocate it, can't you? You can put it into an allocated fund for a project.
Yes, Yeah.
without even saying what the project is. You can just
Yes,
click it.
yeah, we can
Yeah.
do that, yes. And then I'd have to come back to the PCC if
Yeah.
we need that money for anything.
Yeah, I think that's good. There may very well be a project ahead. You never know.
Yeah, okay. Money for the food bank. Now, we took a collection at the harvest service, and we said that the cash in the plate would go to the food bank, and the cash in the plate came to £224. So I think that's fine. But also, when we had the service for the In Memory of the Queen, we took quite a big collection that day, and we hadn't decided in advance whether we would do anything else with it. And it was suggested that we put that some of that towards the food bank as well. And we had amounts between £100 and £300 suggested. Well, it's since been suggested that the 224 from the harvest service, that we make it up to £500, using some of the money from the service for the Queen. Now, I don't know what people feel about that, whether you think that's perhaps a bit too much in the, you know, or whether you think that's reasonable. That's the suggestion anyway, that we.
I have this philosophy, you know, this thing that when you give like that, you receive, you know, that I'm all for giving.
We don't give away a lot, and I think, you know, I have, by the way, I have accounted for that in the 2K deficit. I have kind of assumed that we'll be doing that. So that's not.
Has anybody got anything else they want to say? Olivia, do you want to say something?
Giving is a really huge topic. I totally agree with Pauline that it'd be a wonderful idea to do that. But I also think that that'd be something we need teaching on, because I think we do need to do more of it. It's hard to give, but like Alistair says, we can be blessed by giving. But I think it's something we haven't had any teaching on it, that I may have missed a service, and Jenny might correct me, but I think it's something you know, that would be worth looking at.
So that proposal then, are we all in favour of Pauline's
Are
proposal?
you happy for me to send a £500 check?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
You're getting a lot of support, Pauline, coming up with some good ideas. You're obviously good.
Oh dear. To be honest, I'm not sure what else. I mean, I'm hoping people have had a chance to look at this, because I have kind of sent it round twice now. And then, you know, once and then an update, just saying where we are, updating people on things. Fuel costs. We're very lucky, actually. We're very grateful to Tony, the previous treasurer, because he negotiated a good fixed deal on the electricity, and we've got it now for nearly 2 years, which is really good. But the gas we have to worry about, and of course we can't be complacent about the electricity, because it's expensive anyway. Oh, I have requested an energy audit, because I think it sounds useful. But the only trouble is, if we go ahead with it, we do have to commit to take any proposal seriously. So I don't know what PCC views are on that. It's not something I've, you know, had anything to do with before.
Alison. Oh, I can't hear you, Alison.
Can we take the proposal seriously, Pauline? But if we take it seriously and on reflection, we don't actually have to act on it.
I'm not sure. I'm not completely sure what we have to commit to. That's what I'm wondering. Let's say if they said we've got to put in let's say a £30,000 heating system or something, you know, well, and we're not in the position to do it. I can't see that we can do it. I might have to circulate something about that.
Yeah, maybe we need to look at the terms first before we decide to go forward then.
Yes, yeah. Anyway, I've expressed an interest in it anyway, having an audit.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah.
While it's being offered, because we're being offered a grant towards having an audit. There's nothing that I really need to bring attention to, except just one thing I noticed yesterday. we were very lucky with our standing orders all through COVID. People carried on supporting us. We didn't lose any support. But recently we have lost a couple of standing orders. I've noticed that they've been cancelled. And I guess it's the cost of living and people reviewing their, their outgoings, which is, perfectly understandable. So we have lost a couple, and I think perhaps we've got to be prepared for that and accepting of it. So that's more likely to affect us as we go into next year. Really. But I'm ever so grateful for the all the support we do get, because I think people are extremely generous. Anyway,
Alistair, did you have a question for Pauline or?
Yes, a question for Pauline. In your report, you mentioned it's a minor thing about the water heater being on all the time. Just a suggestion: in the Coronation Hall, there's a switch on the wall in the kitchen. Everyone who comes in, you press a button for 1, 2, or 3 hours, so the water's never on. But whoever comes in, they have to press a button, and the water comes on for 1, 2, or 3 hours. That kind of thing may help us. So it's never on. It's when someone comes in and wants it. They've got to be organised enough to press the water heater a half hour before they want.
It might be, yes. It does mean a bit of a change, doesn't it? It's switched off at the moment. We've got it switched off.
Yeah, the one in the Coronation Hall never allows you. It only allows you to switch it on for 1, 2, or 3 hours, and then
okay, yes,
that kind of thing might help us a lot.
Yeah.
Is there anybody who could look at putting one of those in? Would Alan do that, or
electrician? I guess.
Would somebody be able to organise
the water heater, and it was well researched. I think it's very well lagged. But Alan Fairbairn reckons that is the thing that is draining our,
But I think if we could have it on a timer, that might be good, because then if anybody forgets, and it makes people think about whether they actually want to put it on or not, rather than just
the thing about a timer, though, Annette, is that the use is irregular.
Yes.
And so a timer doesn't really work unless it's very, very sophisticated, and it could pick out Thursday mornings.
No, it's not. You don't have to put it. You don't have to say when it's coming on. You just press it, and then it comes on for an hour. Because we used to use one of toddlers.
That's what Alistair is saying. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, the Coronation Hall has that.
Yeah.
That's how you come
It
into
works
the
really well, and sometimes it starts getting cold, and then you put it back on again. But sometimes you think, well, I've only got another 15 minutes. But it makes you think then about what you're doing, rather than just automatically shoving something on and leaving it on all time. I don't know. I don't know how much they are. I don't think they're very expensive either to put in, to be honest, either.
I would have thought it'd be £100, something like that.
Yeah, it might save a lot of money.
It would.
Well, that's something
Alan would be able to look into it for us.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
His knowledge of electrics is sound, although he's not an electrician, but he's good at judging,
sorting that out. I'm just thinking, if Pauline doesn't want to have to sort it out, but if somebody else could look into whether it's a good idea.
I'll find the thing I'm thinking of on. I'll find the thing I'm thinking of on Screwfix and circulate it.
I can't hear anything.
Alistair's going to circulate something about it so that we've got some information on it.
I'll find a suitable
we all
medium
understand.
and circulate it, because I'm often looking at.
Jill, did you want to say something?
Just to say, Alistair, will you make sure you do work with Alan Fairbairn, because he is very good with our maintenance, and he can get a bit upset if he feels something is happening, such as with electrics or something that he isn't involved with. Okay.
Well, I can leave it to Alan then. It's just I wasn't going to do anything. I was just going to say, well, this is what we're thinking of.
Yeah, that's fine.
So he knows what, because if you say a timer, you might think we mean a 7-day, come on for an hour a day timer.
Yeah.
Just so that he knows what kind of thing we mean. So I'll email Alan Fairbairn and copy people in and just suggest that this is what we're thinking of. What do you think? So it's just a suggestion to him.
And if we know where it's being used, if he's got any questions, he can always go and see them to ask them if it's worked for them and why it works for them. I think that's a really good that we've got a model that we can use.
Don't worry, I won't go doing anything. I'll just
we'll
make
look after him. We'll look after it.
Yeah, but thank you, Jill. Yeah, I'll appreciate that.
It's very sensitive sometimes. I'm just aware, and we don't want to,
So
Thank
the social fundraising, I've got for that. I haven't got anybody for that committee, in fact. Is it actually committee? Jill?
Sorry, I beg your pardon. Where are we at, Annette? Sorry.
Social and fundraising.
Right. I think. I'm sorry, I've lost you a bit.
It's number D, and it says
Yes.
social and
Yes.
fundraising, but I don't know who's responsible for that. So I don't know who's taking on that element.
Well, I think that is Alice, actually. Alice is the person who is doing that, but she's at an interim time, and so I'm also assisting her a little bit at the moment with that.
Are there any questions that anybody wants to ask about that? Do you need any extra help for the Christmas fair and raffle? Is that all in order? Jill, did you want to say anything?
Well, yes, all I would say is that we're very grateful to both Pauline and Alice, who have been busy getting organised with the raffle, and the tickets are going out, and I hope PCC have all had them and are all buying them and sending back to Pauline. That's as far as the raffle is concerned. The general plans for the Christmas fair, we do have a little committee that we've drawn up specifically for the Christmas fair, and they are going to meet very soon. I haven't got the date in front of me, but there is a meeting planned for that, which Alice is very keen that we have. Sorry, the date for that
18th, Jill.
I think it's Friday, is it?
The 18th, yes.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
At
Yes.
2:30.
At 2:30, that's right. And those people involved in that already know about it. So that's just to firm up on all the plans for it. But it all seems to be very much in hand, and we've got some wonderful volunteers. So I'm hoping it's going to be a really happy time when we can raise lots of funds.
So next one's communication, Phil and Penny.
Sorry, just one
Oh,
moment.
sorry.
Is it all right if I bring the books about the Queen Platinum Jubilee to sell, please?
Well, I think probably, Vicky, yes, that there are not really any spaces in the church. I think probably the best bet would be to go to St Mary's Room with them, where people are having teas and coffees, and then they can talk about it. The reason I say that is because there's also another lady selling the book, which is all about Mavis during the war. That summer it's entitled. So the lady that's having that published, or has published that, will be selling those books as well in St Mary's Room. They'll be serving teas and coffees, and also the home produce stuff will all be in there. So that would probably be the best bet for you, to find a little corner there to set yourself up. Is that all right?
Yes, no problem at all. Thank
Good.
you.
Nice and cosy.
Yeah, exactly.
Good, thank you.
So the next one's the communication, and I think we've just had a report circulated on that. So I don't know whether Phil or Penny are here.
Well,
Phil's
Penny isn't on the PC. Phil is around. Excuse me, I'll go and find him. He's supposed to be upstairs.
Okay. Shall I go down to the safeguarding?
Well, that's Tessa.
That's
Actually.
Tessa.
Well, we can say, Annette, can't we, with the safeguarding, that
Yeah.
in the absence of an administrator, I'm just overseeing for the sort of across the benefits, safeguarding and DBS checks and so on, because they've certainly, the DBS has slid a bit, because that wasn't part of Alex's job description. Deborah did it, but it wasn't on Alex's list. And I've sort of realised that nothing has happened for the last couple of years with that. So I'm going to be getting some advice from the diocese, and I'm just doing it as a stopgap.
Yeah, and I think the more we do work with children, the more we're going to be conscious that we'll have to do that.
That's why I think
Yeah.
we've got to pick up on it.
but also if we start doing home communions and things like that, that needs checking as well. So
Yep.
just to make everybody aware that we'll just have to tighten up on that.
Are we allowed to ask
Phil's
why, Alex?
here.
Hang on, Alison, who was it wanted to talk? Could you just raise your hand so I know? So Alistair.
I know this may be often. Are we allowed to know why Alex resigned, or was it just that she was everything all right, or she just wanted to change, or is that confidential?
It's very complicated.
Okay, that's fine. That's all you need to
So
say.
yeah, I think that's
That's fine.
probably all you need to know. There isn't an
That's all I
easy
need to know,
answer.
Fine.
And it, you know, it's in progress at the moment, and she's still working as a volunteer. So I think actually she's got the relief from actually not being paid for what she's doing, and she can manage how much she does.
Yeah.
I think that's probably better that way at the moment. So have we got anybody oh, hello.
Hello, yes, I've made it, sorry.
Yeah, thank you very much for the
Phil,
report.
can I ask one other question? As we're probably losing the office at Enbourne, will there be any opportunity for an office for any administration?
Can we deal with that later? We'll put it all into my report, and I'll go through all of that, because I think otherwise we're going to get cross purposes. I think if we just stay on the agenda, and then we'll come to that bit. So just the communications.
Yeah, so just read this out because I haven't distributed it yet.
Okay, yeah.
It's rather a rushed day, I'm afraid. So anyway, basically, there's about 5 things that we've got in our report. The Beacon is Penny and I have produced 7 issues since April, including the Platinum Jubilee issue. We've published them via email through the Benefice Office, weekly email, thanks to Alex. And we post them on the Benefice website, and which again, thanks to Alex, and each parish's pages on a church near you. Must admit the last couple of months have been a bit delayed, but they're going to put up a few older ones, the last couple of ones on church near you shortly. Ellen is producing the audio beacon each month, which is published on YouTube, and links provided by email to the listeners, to everybody, put up on the website and a church near you. And it's hoped that one day paper copies can be issued again as they were before the pandemic. In the meantime, we are still looking at providing a copy per church per month, once the appropriate display folders can be sourced and purchased, and we can ask the office to print 1 copy for each church. Contributions have come in about activities in most parts of the Benefice over the months, but we could still do with reports from various parishes. It is a Benefice, and we have to, chivvy and ask people. Yeah, and I know it's a chore writing an article, but it would be nice to have some news from all the parishes in there. Penny produces and distributes the posters to all the churches every week with all the services on, and every week we update the church near you with details of each week's services in the Benefices churches, initially based on the monthly rota. The Beacon and the monthly rota are also published there. As the rota does change, we are still publishing the latest changes pages to services on each parish page, as we did during the interregnum. These changes are largely based on the weekly emails from the office, but it would be useful if we could be notified of changes before that comes out, if that's possible.
I would love to. I'd love to be noted before.
Right,
I don't always know till the last minute.
Right, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, no, I do my best, Phil, and I'm very, very grateful for what you do to pick up the pieces.
That's fine. No,
thank you.
It's just sometimes when you get the email at, I mean, in the past 20 past 5 on a Friday, and I've got it. I mean, yeah. So no problem.
You know how I feel.
Yeah, if there ever is any. But yeah. So The other thing that we wondering whether we can broadcast or publish now, probably in the Beacon, is the news of the changes in Hampstead, Marston and Emborn. As we don't get any notifications of progress, presumably because discussions are still going on. But yeah, we'd like to be able to produce some sort of report from time to time for readers to be aware. So and I know it's been sort of, in hush hush because of discussions going on. That and the other thing is that because of the office, obviously with that Alex moving on, and we did wonder at one time with Alex whether emails could go, the email with the benefits, with the Beacon on, could go out separately. And we were just wondering if someone in the benefice or parishes could act as a distribution officer for the Beacon. We had Layla, who used to do that for us, who could just hold the email distribution list. We don't want, Penny and I don't want to see it. We realise there's a GDPR issue. If there was somebody that we could say, right, we finished the Beacon and we can send it off, because sometimes we got a bit sort of tied up with Alex, getting the thing out. And if there was somebody that, because she was getting the weekly email out and everything, so we were just wondering whether there was somebody we could sort of potentially.
Could you leave that with me, Phil? And yeah, because at the moment it's all, the admin's all a bit sticky, and we're not sure what we're doing. But as soon as I do know, and the same with the Enborn and the Hampstead Marshall, it's in progress at the moment, and actually it's in a funny position at the moment. There's nothing really to report other than things are happening, but very slowly.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. The one thing Penny said was, we're not particularly, we wouldn't necessarily want to have the list of emails ourselves to send out. But if that was the way around it, then obviously we would, But yeah, that's fine.
I'll stay in contact with you, Phil, about that, because I'm
that's great. Thanks.
It's a really important job you do, so I'm very conscious of how important you are.
Thank you very much. That's much appreciated. But so that's the report. I can distribute that to everybody if you want me to. I think Jenny's
got it, so she'll send it out. Thank you very much, Phil. Thank you, brilliant.
Thank you. Sorry I'm late.
Jenny's done so church wardens report. Is there anything that you want to particularly raise, or do you think you've covered everything, Jill?
Well, hopefully everybody.
Excuse me, hang on. Sorry. No, safeguarding. There's still a lot more to be said about that.
Oh, right. Sorry. Okay.
Oh, sorry, Jill.
Sorry about that. Carry on, Tessa.
Right. Thank you to the people who have already renewed their safeguarding. Unfortunately, still, I think quite a few people still have to do that, and I'm sorry if you have tried had problems accessing the safeguarding courses via diocese. I know it's that there have been a few glitches. The thing is, they need to be renewed every 3 years. If you look on the diocese website, the list of people that the diocese requires to have done at least the basic course, so extensive. In the case of a church like ours, it's just about everybody that puts their foot over the threshold. So it's everybody on the PCC, anybody that works with children, young people. I think even to the extent of serving teas and coffees, they actually want it to be that broad. Unfortunately, it is no longer acceptable to say, well, I've got a DBS through my school or through the Brownies or whatever else you do. I know there was a time when that counted and people didn't have to double up. That's not the case anymore. So everybody, including everybody in the PCC, like I just said, has to do the diocese specific, church specific awareness course. And like I said, they only last 3 years and that time goes very, very quickly. So I think, to be honest, there are about 4 people who are up to date. And the bad news is that all the rest of us aren't. So if you could please find a time to do that. It doesn't take long, does it? You to do your latest awareness call. Well, anyway, very long, literally.
Just ask for assistance, Tessa, because you know that I had a go at it and I didn't seem to be incredibly successful. Is there a chance perhaps that those of us who are left could perhaps just have a safeguarding morning and get on with
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I have to
Yeah.
apologise, Alison.
I can arrange that if you would like. If Penny, if that helps. Not Penny, sorry, Tessa, if that helps. I've got a link with somebody who said she would come and do that for us.
Oh, that would be useful, because I know
So
that the
I can
link
offer
on the
that.
diocese site used to work, and apparently it doesn't anymore, does it?
I've got a chapter tomorrow and I know the lady, so I will ask her if I will take my diary and try and get one in.
Yeah, that would be great. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and I'll get back to you on that one.
Thank you.
I really I quite enjoyed the or appreciated the latest safeguarding course.
Yeah.
I thought it was very relevant the way it was done and explained.
And you realise it's shifting a culture where we turned a blind eye to things and we kind of felt a bit uncomfortable. We didn't do anything. And it's now saying, actually, we're all responsible for making sure that everybody's safe. And it does. And we'll all be vulnerable at one point.
It was presented differently to the ones I've done before. So, I would say it definitely is worth doing. And I know we're supposed to do it anyway.
Yeah, I could just go on it just to say what you think about it.
We focus on children, but it's not just children, is it? It's vulnerable adults as well, you see.
No, and I think, we're all going to be in that position eventually where we need help. If we're fortunate enough to live that long.
Well, I need it now with doing the course.
I'm very conscious we're kind of running out of time, so I'm just going to whisk through things. Jill, is there anything in particular you want to say about the church wardens?
Well, I'm very pleased to see that the worship committee are already getting together. That's absolutely brilliant. That I'm delighted about that. There was one thing that I was concerned about. The committees do meet under their own steam, as it were. Can I mention about the electrics? That was point 6 of my report.
Yeah.
We have got a lot of dodgy electrics in the church, and Charlie Debney particularly has highlighted this, with Alan, of course, as well. And the suggestion is that PCC are aware that there are problems, some serious problems, and B, that possibly PCC budget, and this is with you too, Pauline, I know you're aware of it.
I've got something to say on this, actually.
Ah, good. Yes, because we do need to put some sort of budget in, possibly for the next 2 or 3 years, a certain amount each year, so that a certain amount can be done each year to upgrade us and to get it sorted.
Shall we pull Pauline in on that point?
Yeah, over to Pauline.
Can I say, it is something that will probably come up in the quinquennial inspection.
Yeah.
And in that case, it's something that the Friends might pick up as part of the quinquennial work. So the PCC might not have to, but it's all to, it's to be discussed. It's not necessarily the PCC which they will
have to pay for it. No, but I'm just flagging it up that we do need to see what we do, really.
Yeah.
And in doing it, it will cost. So we just need to be aware of that. Really, that's what I was pointing out to everybody in the report. Well, there's another thing as well, but oh yes, Annette, point 8 there, and Pauline has already stressed the fact that we are going to pay our full parish share, and we really ought to try and be sure to constantly pay that in the light of the possibility of Annette having a full-time salary, which is being discussed. And of course, we're also wanting our house for duty priest or an associate priest as Annette.
Yeah, I'm going to cover those. I'm going to cover those anyway, so I'll talk about those.
Perfect. That's great. So I don't think there's anything else there. And the future admin thing as well, as Annette has already said, it's a very complicated thing, but it is in hand. and we're moving forward, we hope soon, with that too. Is that okay, Annette?
That's brilliant. The next point is SMR and
Sorry,
cafe.
Can I just come in and say something on that?
Yeah.
I didn't raise my hand. I just wanted to say thanks to Jill for the report. And I was so pleased to read on the updated report that you sent round, Jill, the emphasis that Liz Jackson has put on PCCs and their role and responsibility. And it's a sort of, it's a dual thing, isn't it? I mean, we have a responsibility, but we also have a role and an important role in decision making. And it hasn't always been made terribly clear over the last few years, and it's really, really good that Liz has raised it. And Jill, thank you so much for passing it on.
And just to say, hopefully that will filter up to the general benefice operation as well. That I know we're only a PCC of one of the churches, but hopefully.
But that report from Jill, that was based on the meeting.
Yeah, I wasn't at the meeting, Alistair. So it was just purely for the church wardens, and they just wanted to really kind of stress what the governance elements that needed to be in place that had lapsed really. And I think this is because there's been issues before. I think they haven't really been dealt with, and I think actually it was kind of, it all came to a head, and I think now it's all being kind of looked at and put right, which is wonderful, because it means we've got a much firmer foundation going forward. Yeah, but it's very complicated and it's not finished yet, but I'll quickly go through that in a minute. But any questions for the church wardens? Can we move on? Yeah, so the next bit is SMR and cafe. I'm not quite sure what that means.
The cafe is going well.
Pardon?
The cafe is going well.
Oh, right, it's that one. Yeah.
We are averaging of late at least 14 people. And we've even got some regulars now from No Trees, which is brilliant. And we've had another gentleman join us who lives local, and they're thoroughly enjoying it. And we're having our Christmas party next week.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, and they all keep coming, so which is nice.
Yeah, and gathering more as well.
Yeah.
Is that on a Thursday?
Yes, Thursday morning.
Is that from 10 o'clock? I can't.
10:30 till 12.
Right. You may have two more if I can get my mother out.
That would be fantastic, Victoria. It would really
very good. Very good.
Really
we are having our usual morning tea and coffee and stuff, and then at lunchtime we are having lunch.
That's the 24th, is it?
Yes, for the party. Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
The next one says DS.
Deanery Synod.
Oh, right. Okay. Who's our rep for Deanery Synod?
Tessa, Phil and I. We have sent round the reports, haven't we, for that, to PCC when we've received them. That's right, isn't it, Tessa? Is there anything further we need to highlight at the moment? I don't think there is there?
No, unfortunately, we couldn't make the last one. Which
no, that's right. I couldn't either.
It was the one where they were continuing to talk about how they're going to allocate parish share, but at least I think they've come to what I think is a more sensible arrangement. So that's the thing.
Yes, thank you for that, Tess. That's absolutely right. And Pauline's already alluded to that as well, hasn't she, with her report that it's come through to the Treasurer now that there will be probably no increase, if anything, a decrease, which is good news at last.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
Thank you.
I've only read it from this plenary synod report. Actually, I
right.
haven't heard anything, further on that from as treasurer.
That's the implication, certainly.
Yes,
that we
it is.
give.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you.
So if I just quickly go through my one, then you should have all had my rector's report.
Yes.
Just a couple of things to clarify. So the Archdeacon did meet with John Toogood, who is the assistant rural dean, who's been working with Alex, so knew the benefice more. And they met the church wardens just to talk about the serious governance issues that are in place, because we've been running the benefice account in a way that it shouldn't have been run. So that has to be sorted, which means we can't employ another administrator until we got that sorted out, which is why it's really complicated at the moment. So at the moment, there is a problem with the administration that we're trying to kind of do the bits that we really have to do. And we're getting support with a benefice treasurer is helping to work through those, with Alex working as a volunteer to work through the back payments so that we can start going forward on that. But it's in progress. So there's lots of kind of loose ends that need to be tied up, and we're not quite sure what we're going to advertise for with the benefice administrators, so that needs to be looked at as well to make sure that the working agreement is workable. So in a sense, that's not going to be an instant fix, unfortunately, so we're just going to have to wait for that one and do it piecemeal and make sure that it's done well, so that moving forward we're on a secure base. We were talking about, I was talking to the rural dean and saying, actually, there's a huge amount of work to do at the moment because of some of the problems that are here. And they suggested that I work for full time for 6 months, and I can start doing that at any point. Now, the dean have been very, very generous in saying that they're not going to raise the parish share or anything. It's not going to affect you. However, it would show goodwill if you actually met the parish share, but they will pay for my 6 months. And it means that I can do mission work and stuff to get things started, because I think things have just slid a little bit. And I think what you need is more confidence to come back again as you were, and for me to be around a bit more and get to know the place. Because getting to know a place part-time is really difficult. If I was here full-time, which is really what I'm doing at the moment anyway, to be honest. But it means that I don't feel as though, gosh, this is a bit much. They ask for a part-timer and they really want a full-timer. I can do it for 6 months, but I know what's coming then, and I can start preparing to kind of step back a bit. And hopefully by then as well, we'll have a house for duty. So I'm actually covering the house for duty as well at the moment. So in a way, it would, although it sounds, gosh, this is a bit cheeky, she's come in as a part-timer and now she's expecting a full-timer. It's only on a temporary basis. It's not something that you could get used to, because I'm only going to be here temporarily. And it's not to sort out the problems around the finances, because that needs to be done with somebody who knows the problems and can set it up properly. So we're looking at everything at the moment. We've got one of the treasurer at Inkpen has been really good and is sorting through that stuff to let us know how to progress properly. And we're not quite sure what we might need for that. So we're just waiting really until that's been looked at to see how the best way of going forward. Has anybody got any questions on that? I know it's a bit garbled. Pauline, you're not, I can't hear you. If you've got a question.
Oh, do I look as if I'm talking? Sorry.
Yeah, you're probably singing, aren't you? Olivia, did you want to ask something?
Well, Annette, it seems to me that we all want to say thank you very much for coming and being willing to step up to the challenge. You weren't part of the discussions we were having, so you must have, the Lord must have heard our discussion. Everybody said no one could do the job full time, but we knew we couldn't pay for more. So this sounds an incredible miracle, really, if you're willing to do it for 6 months. I don't quite know what happens thereafter, but thank you, Annette. I think everybody agrees with me.
I tell you how you can support me is doing the Lent course, because it releases you to run services and do various things that you couldn't do at the moment if you do that one. So I'm working with people from the diocese to run what I used to call lay elders, but they're pastoral leaders. So there's a limit on what they can do, but it means you can run some services. You can't preach without a preaching qualification, which you can do as well, but you can do simple morning prayers, you can do compline, you can run those kinds of services. You don't have to be a church warden, but you do have to follow an authorised path, and you do have to be commissioned. But it means if you've got a passion for doing something in particular, that's what you could do. So that's one way you can help, and it can be pastoral or it can be leading. And I've already seen people who've got huge gifts for leading churches whose gifts are not being used at the moment in the way that they could be. And it'd be really lovely to be able to release that under supervision to work to build their church up. And I'm sure that Alistair.
Now that sounds, sorry, I didn't want me to interrupt you. I was going that sounds amazing. And also I'd quite like to publicise that through Filling Station, because there's quite a lot of people who come there who would be interested, not necessarily helping St Mary's, but interested in attending that kind of a course to get to help them do that kind of thing. So we'll try and publicise it a bit wider as well.
Okay.
If that's all right with you.
Yeah, if that's what you want.
Well, when I've got all the details, because I'm working at the moment with, and I always forget get his name wrong. Rodri.
He's a
So I'm
worship
working
leader,
with
so
him,
Nick's.
but also the family minister, and I've forgotten his name as well.
It's Ian
Who I met.
McDonald.
Ian
Ian
McDonald.
McDonald.
Yes. So those
Yes.
two, I'm working very closely with both of those, and other
They're lovely.
people in this area who are actually doing that same kind of lay leadership training. So I'm bringing over what we used to use over in Edmondsbury, and someone's doing it from Chelmsford, their thing, and we're working together to kind of form that. So it's a shorter course than you would be if you were doing a preaching course, but it means that you feel empowered, and we look at all sorts of issues in that, but it also prepares you for confirmation, because it looks at what you are as a disciple. Because I think in some ways it's not about looking in, it's looking out, and I think it's just turning people to see what they can do to actually push the boundaries of their church out into the community again. So we're looking for different faces as well, because I think actually my face doesn't appeal to everybody. There'll be other people's faces that they'd much rather see doing stuff. So that's that one. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else that I definitely need to do. The Christmas experience is going down well. Any more support for that would be wonderful. If anybody wants to get involved in that, there are spaces. If you want to run one of the tables or support one of the tables, or you've got things that you can lend for us to loan. We're doing it at Inkpen Church, and we're also doing it at Kintbury Church. So one's on the Friday and the one's on the following Monday. So that's brilliant. I'm really pleased about that. And lots of different people are being involved in that. Has anybody else got any questions on anything that's come up on the rector's report? No.
Annette, should we just mention the weekly email, etc.?
Oh yes, we cannot, it takes us ages, well, took Jenny ages to send out the weekly email, because the computer is really laboured at the moment. So just say it, tell them how long it took you last week on a Friday to send out the email.
Well, I started sometime during the afternoon, and I didn't finish until 8:30.
Oh. So that's
because
how long
you can only send it out in blocks, and it then takes maybe 20 minutes, half an hour to send out one of these batches.
So is that on a mailing list?
Yeah.
Because I can have a check, because I do it for Filling Station, and we've got, well, probably about 120 on the list.
It's a very old computer. You cannot put an away message on the email account. I cannot change the password because there is no way of changing it. It has to be done remotely, and we
It's
don't
still
know how
running on Microsoft 2010, isn't it?
Yeah.
2010 Home and Student it's running on.
Look, so yeah, I can check. Well, the way to do it is online. Actually, you don't really want to be on a PC, because the Filling Station one's on Microsoft Office 365 online, and so it doesn't depend on one computer. It's done.
Yeah.
You log into it and do it that way.
Yeah.
See, this is another reason why the admin, we can't get an administrator until we really got all that sorted, because it's just
it should be just just click a button. It really,
Yeah.
and then, yeah. If I,
You would not
when I
believe,
come-
Jenny and I sat there trying to look at various files and things, and we would go pressing a button and we go do 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 do. Wait for
course,
the
Phil-
next bit to come up. Oh, it was
don't
awful.
forget Phil's a computer expert, so I don't know if Phil's got an experience of helping with that.
I'll certainly have a look. I'm not quite sure. It's like one of these things until the doctor turns up and doesn't really know what-
Sorry, Phil, we can't hear you very well.
You're too far from the mic.
That better? Is that-
Yes.
Take your head
yeah,
out
I
of the
was-
bucket.
It's a bit like the doctor listening to the symptoms down the phone, and he says, "I'll come round and see me," and but I can come and have a look at some point and see whether, you know, what there
Yeah,
is
that would be good.
going on. If you want me to come and, you know, come and have a look at it all in the office one day when you're both there.
Yeah, that would be good. I mean, I think we've got an accounts package on there as well, which I think there's all sorts of things. And there's lots of bits of the packages that aren't working because it can't be sustained. I think it needs to be updated. It needs a new thing downloading on it. But I don't know how to do any of that. So
No, I mean, I'm not. I don't know if I should be able. A bit like the doctor, you know.
yeah.
I don't know if I can cure what's, but I can certainly come and have a look.
But you might be able to tell us what we need, and then we could go to get someone to do it. Because actually, we just look and think there's something wrong with this, but we're not quite sure why it's so sick. But it's not working very well.
That's it. Now I know you've had problems with the email system before, so yeah. No, if you give me a call, one of you, and then we can sort of look at Friday or something like that, and come over
That
and
would
have
be
a look.
great.
Yeah.
So what we're suggesting for going forward at the moment until we can sort it all is that the letter is written and what all the services are, but then it gets sent out to my contacts who send it out to, so it's a bit like a waterfall effect.
Yeah.
So if you get an email, if you could send it on to your contacts, and we try to get it out to as many people as possible that way. As a temporary measure, because otherwise I think we can't afford that amount of time at the moment to sit in front of a computer until we can sort that. But at least we've got something out there for those that haven't, you know, we don't want to lose contact with those people that we've got.
No.
But we can't even download an email list.
Yes. No, I'll come and have a
fantastic.
One. Yeah,
so much,
when you're
Phil, that's
ready,
lovely.
give me a shout. And I haven't forgotten you, Pauline. Sorry, I know you've contacted me about the accounts.
Oh,
I am going to have a look at that too. I've been a bit.
thank you, Phil. Yeah, when you get time, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, because my computer's struggling a bit as well. So
Right. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, it says on it about Richard Pascal's authorisation of preacher. All of the PCCs have approved that authorisation, so I can get back to the bishop about that one.
Did we approve that then?
Yes.
Okay.
I looked back in the minutes and it was approved. Yep.
Yeah. So at the moment I'm working with him, so he's not working on his own at the moment. I'm working with him just to hear, so that I know.
It was only approved on condition that you were treated, Annette, as far as I remember, because I actually do have some concerns, to be honest, about preaching. But
Well, I haven't heard him preach yet. I've only interviewed him, so he's preaching this Sunday. So
yes, it was. Can I just go back on what Jenny was saying there? The bishop, that is Bishop Olivier, did say that although the other PCCs had agreed, there was a little bit of reticence within Kimpbury PCC, and it was agreed with the bishop that the actual authorization would take place after Annette, at that particular time, because we didn't know it would be you, Annette, after you were appointed and you'd had the opportunity to go through and be confident with everybody and everything, that it was all in order. So that was how it was left. And so in actual fact, the PCC hadn't agreed it before, our Kimpbury ones hadn't, but we're waiting for your approval because there was a little bit of resistance for a few.
I haven't heard him preach yet, so I will be hearing him this Sunday. But it can't be based on one listen anyway. So
No, exactly. And that was why it was that Bishop Olivia did say that it was to be fully approved on your final approval.
Thank you.
Thank you, Annette.
FOSM.
Friends of Mary.
Oh yes, yeah.
Friends.
Yeah. So Jill and I went to the APCM, which was lovely. So I met them. Do you want to say anything, Jill, or do you think the report says it all, really?
Well, I think so, although Alison is very much, she's our PCC representative. That's right, isn't it, Alison? For Friends?
That's right, Jill. I didn't actually go to the meeting because it was in St Mary's Room, which apparently, you know, I find a little bit claustrophobic if there's a lot of people. But obviously, Andy Struthers would have given you a more or less blow-by-blow account of what we've been doing and what we hope to do. And Robert Harris's book talk with Jeremy Paxman is a complete sellout. It was a fortnight ago. So bad luck if you haven't got your tickets yet, but how wonderful that, you know, it's been so well supported. We always do have a full house for Robert Harris, but I suspect this year with Jeremy Paxman instead of John Snow, don't get me wrong, but we all like to listen to John Snow, but because Jeremy Paxman, because of his illness, is retiring from public life, I think people are finding the opportunity to hear him in reality is quite a draw. But I'm sure it will be an excellent evening.
They said they sold more tickets because it's on Eventbrite. They say that they can get it out better, they think.
Yes, we've set this up and it's working really well. Yes, yes. In the past, I mean, going back before pre-COVID, Valerie Prout, David's wife, she used to set up all the tickets online, but sadly, after her death, nobody was experienced in that area to do that. But we now have a team that is slightly more computer orientated, and that's been a huge help. So we hope that going forward in the future. Also, these, I don't know if Andy mentioned about the sound system, which obviously we haven't moved far enough ahead, but a lot of people were having concern that after we had Hayley Mills and a lot of people couldn't hear her, we are actually bringing in temporary extra mics for the performance. So you can reassure any friends that you've got going that they should be able to hear well. We're then suspending any events until probably about April in the spring, because I expect you know that we had to cancel an event through lack of support, and Judy Wilson and Liz Barnett also had to cancel an event because of lack of support. And I think unless it's a major draw, like Robert Harris and Jeremy Paxman, people are watching their pennies now with Christmas coming up. So we thought we'd let people recover financially after Christmas and then think again in about April.
Alistair, did you want to say something?
I was just going to comment. I think as well, because we've found this recently with filling station, people don't want to come out on the dark nights on country roads. And so, I mean, we're half wondering about what we do with filling station over the winter, but that is a common problem. I think in the winter, people just, especially if they're elderly or anything probably above about 40, to be honest, but you know, yes, so that's about 25, yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's not a problem for St Nick's, because being in Newbury in the town, you know, that's no problem, but we're being more rural, it is an issue.
Fair point.
Thank you, Alison. So school now, Jenny?
I sent the report and that's fine.
So I'm looking forward to the new head coming in Easter.
Yep.
Yeah. And I hear she's good because I sat next to somebody who'd worked with her.
It's another Alison.
She was an advisor, so she knew her. Yeah.
Yes, right.
So
do we have a name? Does she have a name?
I said her name is Alison. I can't remember what her surname is at the moment. But
And
I think
I've got a couple of extra things that I wanted to add under any other business.
yes,
I'll just put it down somewhere. One of them is the churchyard. We've cleared the churchyard of the extensions and the extraneous additions. I know this has upset a couple of people, and there has been some comments being made on Facebook. I don't want to get involved in Facebook because I think actually it just escalates when you do that. But I think Jenny came up with a suggestion that we put the guidelines up so that people can see them, and stress that this is not something that I've invented. This is something that's always been in place, but people have been ignoring it, including previous vicars. So actually it's quite difficult when you come in and you think actually it needs to be put right, because the extensions were getting bigger and bigger. They were putting in trees. I pulled out 2 trees that had been added on next to gravestones. Now, if those roots had gone underneath, they would have pushed up stones. There were plants that had been plant pots that had been put on other people's stones because they kind of widened it out. And there were lots of ornaments that were damaged and broken and had been there for ages and were rotting away. And it just does not look nice for people. So
can I say, Annette, as well, that the groundsmen were very concerned because it's exceedingly difficult for them to run their strimmers over that particular area there, and they've done their very best. And they've also found that where people have put extra stones there, a couple of times those stones have flown up, and they've been lucky that they haven't been injured. So that's one thing to say. And as far as the regs are concerned, they are already in the church notice board at the entrance. They've been there now for a good couple of months. Before you came, in fact, I think they were put there. So they have been there, and they're up at Christchurch as well. So the regulations are available. Plus, when people request having their ashes placed in our churchyard, they are given that opportunity of seeing the regulations from the funeral director.
They have to sign the faculty.
Absolutely.
To say that they've read them, and it's all listed, and they sign it, but they aren't necessarily in a good place at that point to actually acknowledge what's there. But they have been in place for a long time. They were, and I did leave the notices out for 6 weeks, and then I gave them, well, I left them out for 5 weeks, and then we gave them an extra 2 weeks on top of that, when I put individual letters onto gravestones. So it's not like it's come from nowhere, but you know, there is a sensitivity to it. So if you could just be aware that there are people who are upset that things have changed. So, you know, and I'm sad about that, and I wouldn't want to upset them, but it needed to be done. Alison.
I'm glad that that's just been mentioned, actually, because somebody did ask me to ask, and actually it completely slipped my mind until you said about gravestones, etc. Somebody who's been in the village for a long time and is still alive, her daughter asked me the question, there is still space to put ashes in St Mary's churchyard, isn't there? There is, yes.
Yeah.
I said I was fairly certain, but I couldn't guarantee, but I would ask the question. And if they wished to reserve a plot or whatever, I understand that's a possibility, isn't it?
It is, but they don't often give it for ashes, because normally you can squeeze ashes in, so you're very unlikely to run out. It's really, it's and there wouldn't really be a need for that.
Okay, that's fair enough.
Yeah, and I think it's normal that you would just go down the line with ashes, which is why they don't like reserving. Otherwise, it's kind of a bit spotty, if that makes sense.
Absolutely fine. They just want to be reassured.
But you can almost guarantee them that they would be fine to have an ashes plot. It's only really full burials where there's problems.
Which you'd rather be in St Mary's churchyard.
Yeah, I don't think there'd be a problem with that.
Good.
Have we had any progress on? I think Jill, you were trying to chase up whoever it was from the council who was going to come and do a topple test, weren't you?
Yes, I haven't had any progress, Tessa. I keep sending, and I will send yet again. They've had another change of personnel. I think this is possibly the reason why it's got, because Arthur Cullen used to do it, and I only learnt this week when the chaps were in the churchyard that he's gone and somebody else is there. So that's probably why that it hasn't been done. But thank you, Tessa. I will send an email to the new person and remind them again about the topple test, as we call it. For safety, yes.
Yeah, because it does, the state of some of those graves, really old ones,
yes,
potentially lethal, and that bothers me a lot.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'll take a look next time I'm in the churchyard as well and see if I can identify, because if they are toppling, it just needs to be laid down.
Well,
yeah, it's not that, because some of them are the I can't remember what they're called, the box pews.
Right, okay.
Tombs, yeah, and it's not just a case of pushing them over because there's too much to go. But if a child tried to climb in one, I mean, I've even seen people in the past, you know, sitting on adults, sort of resting against them.
Can I also say that this did come up in a quinquennial, and we were asked to put notices up, and you probably again may have noticed that there are notices around to say that you know, we can't take responsibility, and there are dangerous areas in our churchyard. So we have done that as well, just for the record, Tessa.
No, I know. I've seen.
It's good to have it in the report, though, that we're aware of it. I give you some dates. The House for Duty is going to be advertised on the 13th of January.
Right.
The closing date will be the 12th of February. The shortlisting will be the 16th of February. And the interviews will be the 1st of March. So the hope is,
any applicants then.
yeah, that's for the House for Duty. So we're hoping that we could appoint shortly after Easter. Now, just to put it in perspective, there is a benefice very close to us who's just advertised for a House for Duty twice and had no response. I think we've tidied it up a little bit, don't you, Jenny, to think that it looks a bit more attractive than it did.
Yeah. I hope so. 3 hours it took.
I've got to say, Annette, thank you so much, because I think you're the person making it much more attractive. I think a House for Duty person, you know, responding without a main person in place would feel rather anxious.
Yeah.
Whereas now you're in place, I think it would be much more appealing.
We've given it more of a team flavour as well, because what I was very conscious of, that there was a heavy weight on that House for Duty vicar to do all the weddings, to look after the school and to look after 3 churches, compared to what it looked like I had. So I've kind of done it. So yeah, I mean,
Tim, who we had before as a House for Duty, was wonderful, such a lovely person, but poor chap, I mean, the main vicar left, COVID arrived, and between him and Jenny, they were doing everything.
Yeah, so I think, you know, it should look better now. And I think the other post that's just been advertised had more churches, and it, yeah, I think we'll have to hope. And the thing is, if we can build a big ministry team as well, if we can actually say we've got, you know, there are several other people who are lay ministers that can lead worship and do certain things in their church, it just makes everything look more attractive, and it's the weights shared then. So it's not just down to 2 people.
Can I just say as well that I think prayer needs to make and be a major part of this. And when we were looking for Tim, Alistair and Vicky will remember this, we had prayer breakfasts, and we had, the result was largely that we had Tim. He was the only one that applied, and it was fantastic. So may I say that, sorry?
There were 2 applicants.
Yes, but that was that was good. We did get somebody. I mean, at the moment, Jenny, there are no people applying according to Liz Jackson. There's been 2 adverts recently, and there's been none applying at all. So we really do. So if I might say that I'm happy to arrange a prayer breakfast again during January, between that 13th of January and that 12th of February. If it's acceptable, and if PCC would like to come along as well, and we'll invite the rest of the benefice to come along too. Is that an acceptable thing to do?
I think we need as much prayer as possible during that period, and we've got the dates now, so we can be praying into those dates, which is really good.
The
But
prayer
we
breakfast was
certainly-
great.
Prayer breakfast as well. Would you like me to do a prayer breakfast
Yeah,
as well?
prayer breakfast would be lovely.
On Saturday morning? Yeah, okay.
Refreshments, Jenny, did you want to mention refreshments?
Well, Jill and I were talking after a service recently, and we always used to have a splendid person who did the refreshments rota for years. She did it. She did tell me how many.
It was Sue Oldfield did it.
I know it was Sue, but I can't remember how many years she said she'd done it, but it was a lot. And I've been to Inkpen a couple of times recently, and they seem to have their rota, and they do refreshments, and I just feel that we're missing that. We're missing that grouping and gathering and sense of community after the service. So I just wanted to sort of float the idea really and see what people thought about it.
Can I say something about that? I think I mentioned this before, but if we do it again, could it please be in Mary's room? Because whenever I've had to push up under the tower, and okay, that has been a while, I know, but we entered Jane Austen enthusiasts under the tower a couple of times. Washing up there is disgusting.
You're not allowed to do it either. Actually.
Sorry?
So we're not allowed to do it either, actually. And in fact, what was happening latterly was that the washing up was being done in St Mary's room afterwards. And that was another big problem, really, for people to have to carry the stuff through from the church to do the washing up in St Mary's room. So you're absolutely right, Tessa. It's not ideal, and we can't wash up in the back of the church there.
Yeah, the only thing is more people do stay on if you have it in church. You know, people don't always go through, and I think that's why we've carried on doing it.
I think that's a big. I've known church before where you have it in the church hall, and most people think, well, actually, if I'm going out of the church, I'll just go home. It's amazing how many more people will just stop for an extra 5 minutes because a coffee is offered to them at the end of the service. It's almost like the service finishes and someone hands you a nice cup of coffee. You can think, oh, I'll just stand around and drink. I can see it's more practical to have it in St Mary's room, but it does make such a difference to the number of people that will just stay because there's a cup of coffee being offered to them, rather than as soon as they've gone out of the church door, they think, well, I'll go home now. I'm not going all the way around the corner. I know it's a daft thing because you think, well, it's only around the corner, but psychologically, you will find a lot more people stay. And I can appreciate though that it's much more effort to do it in the church.
Needs a bit of thinking
It's
about.
not just, it's more the hygiene rather than just the effort. I mean, it really is quite disgusting, I think, washing up there. I found it horrible. Also, there might be a sink, but there's no drainage. And that's probably why we're not allowed to do it. It's just a
No, you're
soak
not allowed to do it. Exactly, Tessa. We're not allowed to do it there. So, as I say, I do know latterly with the teas and coffees that the cups were being carried through from the back of the church round to St Mary's room, which is a bit of a hassle, but it was the only sort of hygienic way to do it, really. So you're absolutely right, Tessa. Yeah.
Can I suggest then what we do? We don't do it this week, but we have a think about the best way to do it, and we have some conversations around this to see if there is a way to keep it in the church but keep it hygienic so the washing up doesn't get done. But if you are doing the washing up in St Mary's, that there's an easy way to do it. So it's even if we have to buy something to transport it or whatever, but somehow we look outside the box in a way that can do it. Because I do agree with Alistair. I think as soon as you make people go out the door of the church, especially if it's not particularly
I
good
could
weather.
loan a wheelbarrow.
But something, I mean, seriously though, something like that might be, you know, I don't know.
Also, I know we're not going to discuss now, but compostable cups. So you actually give someone a, you buy cups that are specially compostable, and then you don't have to wash anything up. Just another way around it.
Yeah, let's just think about all the different ways, because we might come up with it and think that's it, that's the solution.
But above all though, Annette, we've got to have the manpower to do it.
We need to pray first of all for somebody who's willing to take it on. Because at the moment, Tessa's been sending out lots of emails, and thank you, Tessa, for doing it. But I find quite often I'm doing sides person and prayer at the same service, and I honestly, personally, can't take on any more at the moment.
No, I'm not suggesting the PCC do it. I think it's something that we need to ask the congregations, and actually we need to see if they're behind it, because if everybody says no, actually we can't be bothered, there is no point in doing it. But I think there will be people who think that would be really nice, and it might just energize people to volunteer.
Okay.
Keep praying, Olivia. Don't give up hope. Something else to pray for, that someone's going to be rise up to think, actually that's something I could do. I could do the refreshments. Any other business? Are we at the end of the meeting? Date for the next meeting?
Oh.
Will it be before or after Christmas? After Christmas.
Probably after. I think after now. There's a Hampstead Marshall one coming up anyway, isn't there? That's
Oh yeah, this next week.
yeah. So I think try to get anything else. I don't know when you normally have your meetings.
Do we change the day, or do we keep the same day generally? Day of the week?
Well, we have tried to have a different day, because really, technically in the past, we've had 6 PCC meetings. I know we've had other extra ones at the moment, and things are a little bit awry because of the particular circumstances. But when we were having around about 6 a year, which was an alternative month, once a month meeting, in other words, 1 PCC 1 month, the alternative meeting was the committee meeting in that alternative interim meeting month. When we were back, when we're back to that pattern, it would mean that we would have a different day, sort of Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday being the most popular evenings. And so they'd be alternated rather than always have it on a Tuesday or always have it on a whatever, so that it gives everybody the opportunity. That's how we have had it, Alistair. Okay. But it seems such a long time ago, doesn't it?
So do we want a Wednesday next time?
Yes, as long as it's not the 11th, because that's filling station.
What about the 18th of January?
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And then you'll be very happy to hear, Olivia, you'll just be having 1 meeting a month. It'll be PCC committee, PCC committee.
Except I need 3 to 1 every other month. I didn't know that the committee was such a key part of it, but there we go.
I tell you what, though, there is a way of reducing it all, and that's having a steering committee.
That's another meeting, I think.
No, you just have representatives with voting powers in for certain responsibilities that meet. So that's something, and that's a way of simplifying governance as well. So it's something
we should make more use of the steering committee, actually.
Yeah,
I think.
Standing committee.
But if we had a benefits council, if we went one step further, benefits.
No, I'm getting in a muddle. Yeah, okay.
It would be really good. So, I mean, it might be that the steering committee is what's on the benefits council, but that's a way of reducing the number. And then your meetings are all about mission, and the steering committee are the ones that, or the benefits council, the ones that makes the other decisions on your behalf. So relinquish your responsibilities to them, but you direct them, and they do it on your behalf. So you can limit what they can do. So you have to
build
set
up
it out.
trust first.
Exactly, yeah. But
I'm
it
not
is
sure
about
that's there right
trust.
now.
Yeah, no, at the moment, no. And you have to have the right people on that. So you have to have people that will hold each other accountable and be transparent and be good at coming back and explaining what's happened so that everybody's on board and they feel safe, rather than that something's being done behind their back. So it's all about that. And I think, you know, we're not ready for that yet, but it is a way, Olivia, of reducing the legwork. And I think, you know, much easier for me as well, because I'm working with a small team of people rather than a decision needs to be made and I have to go round, you know, 30 odd people to try and get a decision. To have somebody that you trust.
And you aiming for 7:30 p.m. on the 18th?
Yes.
I found it very difficult finding out the time for tonight.
Yeah, I'll always do 7:30s because people, if they're at work, they usually can't get sorted before then. So that's why I go for 7:30. But if you've got a committee in between and nobody's working, you can of course have day ones, which makes it even nicer. Shall we, if there isn't anything else, shall we end with the grace? Can I just say thank you ever so much, because I know that there are lots of meetings at the moment and it's busy time and it's horrible and the weather's not nice. So it's quite a nice meeting on Zoom, but you don't get that kind of coming together in the same way as you would face to face. But so thank you for coming. It's nice to see all your faces and your homes. I've been invited to so many homes today. Shall we just say the grace? The grace of our Lord
Jesus Christ,
and the
and
love
the
of
love
God,
of God,
The Holy
and the
Spirit.
fellowship of the Holy Spirit
Spirit, be with us all.
Be with us all.
evermore.
evermore. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Have a lovely weekend. I'm sure I shall see some of you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Bye.
Thank you,
Bye,
everybody.
everybody. Thank you.
Bye.
I'll send you the recording, Jenny.
Thanks very much. Well done. That was relatively painless.
It's so difficult because I realise I can't give them any information because I haven't got any information to give. I've never known anything like it. It's kind of like an unwieldy beast at the moment. But I do think, I mean, I thought I'd put in about the Benefits Council.
Yes, well, somebody had just made that little in fact, Olivia had just made that little opening for you. And I mean, the thing is that when you can hang it on, it's too many meetings.
Yeah.
Rather than this is the way that we should be doing it, or this is what makes it easier for the rector. You know, you've got somebody on the floor saying it's too many meetings. I can't.
Yeah, and it is, and I think it takes all the governance and puts it all together. They can have one big meeting a year where they agree all the policies and it's all rubber stamped. Safeguarding's all checked at that meeting, and everybody's on the same board. And then that's kind of like your structures there. The admin, we can do the benefits admin.
I mean, you just go tick, 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 tick.
Brilliant.
And there you are.
And it's just the finances, but you can keep those separate. You don't have to put them together immediately. But over time, people start thinking, no, there's no point in doing this. We might as well just throw it all together. She says with hope in her eyes.
That, in my experience, is usually the very, very, very last
thing. Yeah. And people really fight over that. It's because that's the bit that they want to control to the last minute, how their money gets spent. And I suppose it's fear, isn't it? Because that's your power.
It's also, I think, it's villages and it's parishes, and it's not just the PCCs, but it's the people out there that will give money for their church, But
Yes.
actually, you see,
Yes.
we've got, I mean, there are people that won't give money to the church because they think it's going on parish share.
Yeah.
That's why they'll give it to Friends of St Mary's instead, because they see that as going to the church. But if they think it's going towards parish share, they won't give it to the PCC.
And to be
And
honest,
that
I
would-
don't blame them, to be
and that,
honest.
well, and that would be even more so, I think, if they felt it was also going up the road to Enbourne or Hampstead Marshall or
Yeah. But also, if they haven't got a ministry team that they're behind, that's who it's paying for, really, because the majority of it
Absolutely.
is to pay for that. So
Yes,
you think if
I
you
know.
don't actually, if you don't believe in your priest, and I've already lost some over the churchyard, they won't get any money from those. But you know, there is that sense of you've got to build up trust with people. People have got to see you're worth the money, in a sense.
Yes. Yeah.
And hopefully I will be able to do that. But I hope I wasn't too curt with Jill. I just thought, oh my word, she's going to build this into a just and I was watching the minutes tick by and I'm thinking, oh no, please don't make me go over. So
Yeah,
it was okay, wasn't it?
it was okay. It was good. I mean,
Worried about Mick though. Has he often gone into hospital?
yes, because he is diabetic, and his blood sugar levels are quite volatile. You will often notice if he's on a long stretch of doing something, he'll have to stop and have a rest and have something to eat to get his blood sugar levels right. So
is it normally that he just goes in there for a couple of days? They don't keep
it's
him for long, do they?
usually, yes.
Okay.
Yes. Brigitte will keep in touch with Joyce.
Right.
And then, yeah,
Let us
I'm
know.
sure she will.
Oh, let's hope he's okay. Thanks ever so much, Jenny. I will send you that recording when it comes through. It's still recording us now, so you'll have this little bit as well. Lucky you. Cheerio.
Right, thanks
Bye-bye.
ever so much, Annette, and well done. And
Thank you.
enjoy
Bye-bye
the rest
then.
of the evening. Bye-bye. Good night.